Hello everyone, welcome to Crochets. So today I'll be teaching you how to make this turtleneck halter top. It's a beginner friendly tutorial, easy to make. I made these in different colors and it turned out to be so good. So I'll be making for size small and medium, but I show you how to make other sizes. Hope you enjoy making one for yourself too. For the materials, I used a medium weight yarn, a 4-ply with Winter King, a Kenyan brand, a 3.5mm hook, pair of scissors, darning needle, and stitch markers, and tape measure. So for this top, it's divided into sections, and this is how it looks like. So we'll be working in sections to achieve this kind of top. So let's get into the tutorial. To begin, we'll be starting with part A. For part A, step 1, we make a slip knot. You can make it in any way you prefer. Insert your hook and tighten the knot. And then you make a foundation chain of that one, which is 6 inches long. To make a chain, yarn over, pull through the loop that's on the hook. Chain up to that one chains. And I meet you back in. So we have our that one chains. For me, I normally work on the back side of the chain. The back side, so there's the right side, the one you chain, and there's the back side. So I normally work on the back side. So skip one chain, go into the second chain with a half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all, half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. Place another half double crochet into the next chain. And into the next one. So continue making half double crochet into each chain. I'll meet you back in at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of the row. I'll place my last half double crochet into my last chain to finish row 1. For row 2, chain 1 and turn. We'll be working on the back loops. The back loop is the one that is facing away from you, from your body, that is this one. And we have the front loop, so we'll be working on the back loop. So place a half double crochet into the back loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. To do half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Continue placing half double crochet into the next loop, back loop, remember. Continue placing half double crochet into the back loop of each stitch until the end of the row. I'll meet you back in. I'm at the end of the row and I place my last half double crochet into the last stitch. Remember, you place it on the back loop of that stitch. So for row 3, chain 1 and turn. Place a half double crochet into the back loop. To do that, yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. Repeat into the next stitch by placing your half double crochet into the back loop. Into the next stitch, do the same. Continue placing half double crochet into each back loop of each stitch. I meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, so I place my last half double crochet into the back loop of my last stitch. So repeat row 3 until you have 10 rows and I will meet you back in. You can pause the video, then I meet you once you have your 10 rows. If you want your top bigger, you can make more rows. So for part B, we start with row 1. For row 1, chain 1 and turn. Remember to place a stitch marker so that you can separate the 2 rows. Into our first stitch, we place a half double crochet into the back loop. Pull up a loop, you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. Since you are going to increase, so you place another half double crochet into the same loop. So yarn over, insert your hook into the same loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. So this will be our top part of the top. So for the next stitches, we do half double crochet into the back loop of each stitch. Continue doing the same, repeat the same placing a half double crochet into the back loop of each stitch, then repeat into the next stitch. So continue placing a half double crochet into each back loop of each stitch. I meet you back in. So I'm at the end of the row. I place my last half double crochet into the back loop, remember. After that, we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're done with row 1. For row 2, turn and then skip 1 chain. Place a half double crochet into the next chain. Hope by now you know how to place a half double crochet. To make a half double crochet yarn over, insert your hook into the loop of the chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. So continue making half double crochet. Once you're done making half double crochet on the chains, we go with our normal half double crochet back loop only into each stitch. Continue placing your half double crochet back loop only into each stitch. So continue making half double crochet back loop only into each stitch. I meet you back in. So I'm at the end of the row. So you do half double crochet increase. To do that, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop. Remember, back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all. Place another half double crochet into the same loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through all. So we are done with row 2. And this is how it looks like. For row 3, chain 1 and turn. We do half double crochet increase the same loop. So to do half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop of the stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all. Place another half double crochet into the same loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3. Yarn over, pull through all. After that, you continue placing half double crochet back loop into each following stitch. So continue placing half double crochet back loop only into each stitch. I meet you back in at the end of the row. We're at the end of the row. I mean 1 stitch. So place your last half double crochet stitch. So after that, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. For row 4 turn, skip the first chain and place a half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. Place another half double crochet into the next 2 chains each. So after you're done, we go placing half double crochet into each back loop. So continue placing up double crochet into each back loop of each stitch. I meet you back in at the end. At the end of the row, I do an increase, half double crochet increase, and to do that, yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop of that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all. We place another half double crochet into the same loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the same loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 3, yarn over, pull through all. So that's an increase. So I'm done with this row. So continue repeating row 3 and row 4 until you have 16 rows, and I will meet you back in. Now I have my 16 rows. This is how it looks like. I was increasing on the upper and the lower part. So let's finish on our last stitch of the 16th row. We do our last increase. By placing 2 half double crochet into the same loop. So we are done with our part B. For part C, chain 1 and turn, half double crochet into the back loop of the stitch. There's no increase here, so we just place 1 half double crochet into the back loop. So after that, you continue placing 1 half double crochet into each stitch. Remember the back loop of each stitch. Continue placing 1 half double crochet into the back loop of each stitch. I meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, so let's place our last half double crochet into the last stitch. Remember the back loop. Then after that, chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For row 2, turn, skip the first chain and go into the second chain with a half double crochet. yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all. So continue placing up double crochet into the next 6 chains. So once you're done, place a half double crochet back loop into the rest of the stitches. So continue placing one half double crochet into each back loop of each stitch. I meet you at the end of the row. We are at the end of the row. So at the end of the row, just place one half double crochet back loop into that last stitch. There's no increase. And sorry, I forgot to place my stitch marker, but you can place your stitch marker so that you can distinguish between the parts. For row 3, chain 1 and turn. Place one half double crochet back loop into our first stitch. And continue placing one half double crochet back loop into the following stitches. So continue placing one half double crochet back loop into each stitch. I meet you back at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of the row. So we are not going to chain anything, so we just place our last half double crochet back loop into our last stitch and we are done. For row 4, chain 1 and turn. Half double crochet back loop into each stitch. Continue placing one half double crochet back loop into each stitch. I meet you at the end of the row. So we are at the end of the row and we place our last half double crochet back loop into our last stitch. So continue repeating row 3 and row 4 until you have 7 rows. I'll meet you back in. Now we are done with our 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. For row 8, chain 1 and turn. Slip stitch back loop only into the first 7 stitches. To slip stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop and pull up through all the loops. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop and pull up through the loop on the hook. Continue slip stitching until you have 7 stitches. So after you're done slip stitching into the 7 stitches, place half double crochet back loop into the same 7th stitch, the same loop. And after that, continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch. Continue placing one half double crochet back loop into each stitch. I meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, so I place my last half double crochet back loop. There is no increase or decrease, just place one half double crochet back loop into our last stitch. So this is how our bottom part looks like. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of non-increase or decrease. And on the top, we have 8 rows of non-increase and decrease. For part D, row 1, chain 1 and turn. We are going to do a decrease, but remember to place your stitch marker to separate the rows. To decrease, do a double crochet decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop or first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops. Yarn over, pull through all. That's how we do half double crochet decrease. So continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch. So continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch until you reach where the slip stitches end. So I'm at the end of the row. Into the last stitch, place half double crochet back loop. And this is how the row looks like. So for row 2, chain 1, turn. We slip stitch back loop into the first 4 stitches. So to slip stitch into the back loops, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the loop on the hook. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through all. Continue slip stitching until you are at the 4th stitch. After that, place half double crochet into the same loop where you have your 4th stitch. And continue placing half double crochet back loop into the next stitch. So let's continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch until you are remaining with 2 stitches at the top. Then I meet you back in. I'm at the top, so let me show you how to decrease. To decrease, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the next loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops now. yarn over, pull through all the 4 loops. That's how we do our decrease. So for row 3, chain 1 and turn. We do a decrease. To do that, yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop of our first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, have 3 loops. Into the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops now, yarn over, pull through all. So that's how we'll be doing our decrease. Into the next stitch, place half double crochet back loop only. Continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch. So continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch and meet you at the end of the slip stitches. I'm at the end of the row. So I placed my last half double crochet back loop into our last stitch. For row 4, chain 1 and turn. Slip stitch back loop only into the first 4 stitches. Hope you know how to slip stitch by now. One, 2, 3, and 4. After that, we place half double crochet back loop into the same stitch, the same last stitch. That's our 4th stitch. And then continue placing half double crochet back loop into the following stitches. So continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch. I meet you at the end. I'm at the end of the row, so we do a decrease. Hope you remember to do a decrease. To decrease, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops now. Yarn over, pull through all the 4 loops. That's how we do our decrease. And chain 1. So continue repeating this part to be similar to part B. The same number of rows. I meet you back in when you are at your 16th row. So I'm done with my 16 rows. So for part E, row 1, chain 1 and turn. Remember to place your stitch marker to separate the rows. Then after that, place half double crochet back loop into our first stitch. Into the next, place half double crochet again and do the same into the next stitch. So continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch. I meet you at the end of the slip stitches. So I'm at the end of the row. I place my last half double crochet into our last stitch. So after that, this is how it looks like. For row 2, chain 1 and turn. half double crochet into our first stitch, into the next do the same, remember we are doing it into the back loops. So continue placing half double crochet back loop I meet at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of the row and I'm remaining with one stitch. So let's place a half double crochet back loop into that last stitch. So we are done with our row 2. For row 3, chain 1 and turn, half double crochet back loop into our first stitch and continue half double crocheting back loop into each of the following stitches. Continue doing the same. I meet you back at the end of the row. So we are at the end of the row, place our last half double crochet into our last stitch. So continue chain 1 and turn. Continue repeating row 3 until you have 10 rows like our part A. Then I meet you back in. So we are done making our 10 rows and this is how it looks like. Let's make the loops. Chain 1 and turn for row 1. Single crochet into the first 2 stitches. We are not going to the back loop, we are doing the normal single crochet. 1 and 2. After that, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and skip 3 stitches and go into the 4th stitch with a single crochet. Place 2 more single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then chain 3, 3, skip 3 stitches and go into the 4th stitch with a single crochet and single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. So continue repeating the same pattern and meet you at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of the row. Place your last single crochet into the last stitch and we are done with our row 1 and this is how our loops looks like. Row 2, chain 1 and turn. Place your first single crochet into our first single crochet stitch. Into the chain space, place 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Into the next stitches, we go into each stitch with a single crochet. Into the chain space, as I said, go into the chain space with 3 single crochets and continue repeating the same pattern. I'll meet you at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of the row and I've placed my last single crochet and I've done making the loops. I have 5 of them. So chain 1 and cut off the yarn, leaving a long tail to weave in your ends later. So these are the loops look like. So we are going to repeat the same thing on the other part. That's part A. And make the same loops. So we start by attaching our yarn. Remember to not miss the first stitch. After that, chain 1 and into that chain 1 place your first single crochet into the same loop. So make sure the loops are identical. I'll meet you once you're done. So I'm done making the loops and this how they look like. The parts are identical. We have 5 loops in each part and this is how they look like. For the neck part, step 1, make a slip knot. You can make your slip knot in any way you prefer. And then chain that one. I meet you once you have your that one chains. So these are my that one chains. For row 1, so I normally work on the back side of the chains. Yeah, this side. So skip one chain and go into the second with the half double crochet. Hope you remember how to do half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook into the loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through all. So continue placing half double crochet into each stitch. Mean chain. I meet you at the end of the row. So I'm done with my row 1 and this is how it looks like. So for row 2, chain 1 and turn. Half double crochet back loop into the first stitch. And place another one into the next stitch. So remember we're working on the back loop now. So continue placing a double crochet into the back loop of each stitch. So continue placing half double crochet back loop into each stitch. I'll meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, and this is how it looks like. So for row 3, chain 1 and turn, half double crochet back loop into our first stitch, into the next one, do the same, placing half double crochet back loop only. Continue placing into each following stitches. I meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, and this is how it looks like. So continue repeating row 3 until you have your neck circumference, subtracting 4 from it, which I show what we placed there, and I meet you back in. So I'm done making the rows. I made that 2 rows. I tried to fit it on my neck and it left some space, which I will show you how to make something else. So let's get into the next part. For the neck part into 2, make sure they're equal parts, and use your stitch markers and attach the 2 stitches together. We don't really need to put another stitch mark on the other side because we'll be working on it. So make sure the parts are in equal position. So for row 1, make sure they're equal position. The stitches are in the equal position. One stitch corresponds to the other stitch on the other side because it will be working as one stitch. And let's place our first single crochet into our first stitch. Insert your hook into the loops, the 4 loops. There are 4 loops now, 1 2 3 4. And now pull up a loop. You have 2 loops and I'll pull through all the loops. So we'll be doing single crochet into the stitches. Make sure the stitch on the other side corresponds with the other on the other side, so it counts as one stitch, and continue placing a single crochet into each until the end of the row, and make sure you count the stitches. For me, the stitches are 30, so when you fold them they'll be 15. So make sure you have 15 single crochets at the end of the row. So I'm at my last stitch. I place my last single crochet into that last stitch. Remember to count the number of stitches so that you can't miss any stitch. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. So we have 15 stitches and we are done with our row 1. So let's go into row 2. For row 2, chain 1 and turn, Place your first single crochet into the first stitch. To single crochet, insert your hook into the loop. You never pull up a loop. You have 2 loops, you never pull through all. After that, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and go into the third with a single crochet. Place 2 more single crochet into the next stitches, 1 and 2. Then chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches and go into a third one with a single crochet. Place 2 more single crochets, 1, 2, and then chain 2 again, 1, 2, and go into the last stitch after skipping 2 with 1 single crochet. So we are done with row 2. For row 3, chain 1 and turn. Place your first single crochet into the first single crochet stitch. Into the chain space, go into the chain space with 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. The following stitches, go into each with a single crochet. Into the chain space, go with a single crochet, 2 single crochet, remember. Into the next stitches with a single crochet each. Remember, into the chain space, you place 2 single crochet into there. Place the last single crochet into the last single crochet stitch. Then chain 1 and leave a long tail to weave in your ends later. So you're done making the loops. This is how they look like. So we do the same thing on this other side. So remove your stitch marker and let's begin. So first, remember, the other side add 15 single crochet stitches. So make sure you make 15 single crochet on this side too. I'll just show you how to make the first 15 single crochet and then you can do the rest. So let's get started. Insert your hook into the first stitch. Make sure you do the same on the other side and make sure they're the same level so that you can count the 2 stitches as 1 stitch. And you can carry along the yarn, that instead of weaving in, we can just carry it along. So attach your yarn and chain 1. Go into the same stitch with a single crochet. Then continue placing a single crochet into each stitch. Remember, we are counting the 2 stitches as 1. Make sure they are the same position and carry along the yarn that was left and continue placing a single crochet into each stitch. Remember, the other side add 15 stitches. So as you make your single crochet stitches, remember to keep it in mind. So let's continue making single crochet. I meet you at the end of the row. Once you're done with your row 1, chain 1 and turn. So for the rest of the rows, we repeat the same thing we did on the other side, and then I meet you back in. So I'm done making the loops, and this is how it looks like. So we have determined our middle part, and this is our middle part. You can count, or you can just fold it into two. For me, I've already counted and I just folded in two and found the middle part. So these are 19 up to here. This is 19 up to here. So we're going to attach this part to the body of the top. So for my top, it has 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rows. So this is our middle part. So we count. In this part, we have to find our middle part too. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our middle part is here. This is our middle part. Yeah, so this is our middle part. This part should be the outside, as in when you are fixing this, it has to be like this. This one has to be the outside. This has to be the inside. So always place your top like this. The one that you have placed your stitch marker is the inside. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then join it with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Join it with this part. And then after that, we count another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And join it here. So after we have joined, and this is our middle part, we don't have to join the middle part anymore because we have just finished aligning the parts. Just move our stitch markers and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the same ones. So after that, turn your top like this, and then we work on this side. Since this side is our inside, we work on the inside, and this one will be our outside. So let's get started. So remove the stitch marker, but first attach yarn. So insert your hook into the loops where the stitch marker is placed. You can use a darning needle to attach the neck part to the body of the top. For now, I'll be using a hook, so let's attach the yarn into the parts and then chain 1. Fasten the yarn into that same stitch. Go with a single crochet, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops here, now pull through. So make sure the parts are in equal position, and you can carry along the yarn, the tail of the yarn that was left. So go into each stitch. For me, in each row, I placed 2 single crochets. Hope you understand that one. You know, we are working in rows. The neck part has rows, so the row on the neck part has to align with the row on the body of the top. So in those rows, in each row, I work 2 single crochets because it has 2 loops. In each row has 2 loops, so I work into each row with 2 single crochets. So continue placing your single crochets into each loop. So continue placing single crochet into each loops until you reach the stitch marker. So when you reach the stitch marker, remove the stitch marker. And place your last single crochet into the loop. Once you're done, slip stitch to close up and then chain 1, cut off the yarn. So this is how it looks like, and this is how we fixed the neck. Cut off the tail of the other yarn that we carried along. This is how our top looks like. The outside is the inside. So let's weave in our ends. So after you have inserted your yarn into the needle hole, let's go into the wrong side of the stitch and weave in the rest of the yarn. After that, cut off the rest of the tail. Continue doing the same thing, all the parts, weaving in on the wrong side. Then I will meet you back in. So I'm done weaving in the ends, and this is how it looks like. This is the outside, the outer part of the top. So it looks like. So after this, let's go into making the straps. To start, for me, this is how I make my straps. I leave a long tail. So I'll be making the neck strap, the strap that you use on the neck. So after that, this is my middle part. I place my hook under the yarn and then twist it, holding my other yarn with my index finger, yeah, and the other yarn with my middle finger and the thumb. I go under the yarn that is in the thumb and the middle finger, then yarn over, pull through all the loops. So continue repeating the same thing. Place your hook under the yarn and yarn over, pull through all the 2 loops. Just observe and then you will learn. This is how I make my straps. You can make in any way you prefer. If you prefer making in 2 strands, you attach 2 strands and make your strap, you can do that, or you just chain the normal chain, it's okay. So this is how I make my strap. Continue making your straps in any way you prefer. Then I meet you back in when you have 70 chains. So I've done making my 70 chains. So I cut off the yarn. You can make any length that you prefer. So let's cut off the yarn and fasten it. You can tie a knot to fasten it. It's so stretchy, so this is my strap. So for the top, that's the body part of the top, we make another strap. Leave a long tail, not that long, but approximate a length that can be worth 160 chains or any length that you prefer. So this is my middle part. We repeat the same thing we did for the neck part. If you didn't get it, you can go back and watch the other video, and then you learn how to make this kind of strap. Or you can make any strap you prefer, as I said earlier. So continue making the straps until you have 160. I will meet you back in. So let's fix our straps. Just observe. Then tie it and make a ribbon. So this is how it looks like. Let's fix the neck part too. Just observe. So once you're done, tie it and then make a ribbon. For what I mostly do when I wear this top, I push the ribbon into the back, inside of the neck part, and this is how it looks like. This is how the top looks like. So we are done making this top. It's been a long journey. If you enjoyed the tutorial, remember to subscribe, comment, like and share. And remember to turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified anytime I post another tutorial. You can wear this top with jeans, skirt. It's an easy go top. If you're going to make this top, remember to tag me in your videos of your end product. And if you have any questions concerning the making of this top, you can leave a comment down there. Thank you for watching.